UFC 312 just wrapped up, and I'm going to be going over a few key fighters on the event to determine whether their stock increased or decreased. I'm going to be going over the outcome, the narratives, kind of what the general consensus is of that fighter now after the event. So obviously like and subscribe, that would help out the channel tremendously, and let's just get right into it. First is Dricus du Plessis. In my opinion, his stock rose because he broke Strickland in every aspect of this fight. He was able to get the takedowns. He's able to outstrike Strickland. He was also able to break his nose too. So he won all 5 rounds, a very dominant performance, and was able to leave this matchup in the past in a sense, where there's not going to be no controversy about this one. Another thing, after the event, he decides he wants to call out Alex Pereira, which is one of the most dangerous guys in the UFC right now. And he also accepts the Chimaev fight. So all around, he's trying to become the middleweight GOAT, which in my opinion, where does his stock drop? It doesn't. So for that reason, I think his stock rises, and a very solid performance by Dricus du Plessis. Next is Sean Strickland. Obviously the other half of the main event here. Where do I think his stock lies? Honestly, I think it stayed the same. The reason being, although he got beaten down for 5 rounds straight, so all honesty, it should be going down, right? But he showed how tough he was. Even with a broken nose, he was unfazed. He still stuck at it, super professional. And, even backstage, he was super professional with Dricus du Plessis. Wasn't bad-mouthing him, all that kind of stuff. Although, obviously, in the press conference, he was saying that, I'm going to go to war for you guys, all that kind of stuff. Doing the classic Sean Strickland stuff. He still showed us how tough he was and still put on an entertaining main event. So in my opinion, the stock stays the same, but you also could argue that it does go down slightly. Moving on, we have an underdog upset. Wei Li, her stock rose. She was able to absolutely shut down Tatiana Suarez, was able to out-wrestle the better wrestler, and also she looked very dominant on the feet. Considering the fact that she was an underdog, she has looked better than she ever has, in my opinion. She was able to go the full 5 rounds, put on a great pace, and was able to shut down Tatiana Suarez everywhere. So her stock rose tenfold. And you guessed it, we have the other half of the co-main event. In my opinion, Tatiana Suarez stock slightly goes down, okay? And I would put it at the same kind of level, just like Strickland. So maybe I would put Strickland's down just a little bit as well. She just was very one-dimensional, and she didn't really have anything to offer on the feet. And once the wrestling got stuffed, she didn't know what to do. But the reason why I think it's almost as if the stock stays the same or slightly goes down is because she showed how tough she was. She's been through it a lot in her life, obviously with the injuries, the cancer, all that kind of stuff. But she stayed in there for 5 rounds and, put on a good fight against Wei Li. And she won the first round. So in my opinion, her stock probably stays the same, or if not, slightly goes down just because of this. Another fight on the main event, we have Justin Tafa. This is going to get maybe a little bit controversial, but my opinion is that his stock goes down here. Again, he has that one shot that's very powerful, can knock anybody out, right? But he has no takedown defense. He quit very easy within this fight, which, he was a great underdog to pick because he has that power to be able to knock out Teixeira, who is a very slow-moving heavyweight. But in my opinion, he quit a little bit too early. Maybe that shot was a lot more damaging than I thought it was, but it looked like he quit very, very quickly. So for that reason, his stock is going to go down because he just has too many holes in his game, and that one shot, basically a KO, is becoming more and more easier to avoid. And then the last fight on the main card, we have Jimmy Crute. In my opinion, his stock goes down. And although he looked very, very dominant on the first round, getting a 10-8 round against Pilato, look at the second and third. He did not look good. He slowed down, he got wobbled a little bit, and Pilato was able to fight his way back into the fight to make it a draw. In my opinion, that was Jimmy Crute's fight to lose. He was dominant in the first round, almost got the KO. I'm not going to say fumbled it because Pilato was tough and hung in there, but man, it just could have been better for Jimmy Crute. And again, will he just retire after this as well? I wish I saw a victory from him, so unfortunately his stock has to go down. Moving on into the prelims though, we have Gabriel Santos. His stock goes up. Oh my, it is Oliveira 2.0. He looked fabulous in the second and third round. First round, a little bit worrying. Jack Jenkins did wobble him and almost got him out of there. But he came from behind and won the fight. Was able to hit Jack Jenkins with a crazy upfront kick. I don't know how Jack Jenkins ate that. It's crazy. And then was able to find the submission in the third round. And he has the Oliveira kind of esque to him. So he has that aura coming in as well. So in my opinion, people are calling him Gabriel Santos or Oliveira 2.0. His stock has to go up. I just don't see how it does it. So good stuff by him and a good victory. Moving a little further down in the prelims, we have Wang Kong. So obviously, she had a little bit of controversy coming into this fight. You know, was she going to be able to stop the takedowns? You know, will she still have the chin? Because obviously she got chinned in her last fight. But she was able to shut down all the doubts and was able to completely control Bruna Brazil in the striking. And Bruna Brazil didn't end up throwing a single punch just because she couldn't. She couldn't land on Wang Kong. Wang Kong was effective with the takedown defense as well. And it boosted her stock. Because obviously she got finished in her last fight, so it's good to see a good rebound win by her. And who knows, maybe a top 15 fight next, we will see. But a good win and a good stock rise there. This next one, I have to contain myself because it is Kevin Jessett. In my opinion, his stock goes down rock bottom. It goes bankrupt. Okay. Kevin Jessett looked very static in this fight. He did not end up throwing off a lot of punches. Yes, he won the third round, but too little, too late. I forget the Australian guy fighting him. He just threw too many leg kicks, was able to redden him up as well. And he just was the more active guy. And with that, he won the first round and second round because he was just throwing a little bit more. Yes, he wobbled Kevin in the first round as well. It's just as soon as you put any amount of pressure on Kevin, he crumbles. He just doesn't know what to do. And I think it's because he's French. But I mean, that's probably my personal biases there. It's just... man, it's just, Kevin, you're so skilled and so technical with what you're doing. It's just, you put a little bit of pressure on this guy and he wilts, and it's very sad to see. So Kevin's stock goes down, and I think it's going to be a make it or break it fight for his next fight. You know, he's coming off 2 losses. Yes, against Brian Battle, which is obviously a decent loss because I think Brian Battle will be somebody, but man, it's not a good look. Not a good look, Kevin. Moving on. Into our last spot, we have Alessandro Topuria. He is the real deal. His stock rose. He was a successful debutant from this fight. Obviously, he's taking on somebody like Kobe Thickness, who was able to expose if you're not a real good fighter. Topuria, he had that shell stance just like Ilia Topuria does as well. Was able to suplex Thickness as well and was able to wobble him. Overall, a very technical fight. A little bit of a low output, but I think, you know, it's your debut. Of course, you're going to be a little bit nervous. You know, you don't really want to overextend yourself until you get actually fully into the UFC. Very impressive. I think he's going to be the real deal. Give him a few more fights first before you just send him to the Wolves, basically in the top 5 there, top 10. So good stock performance by him, and I am excited to see where his future ends up. So that was the video. Obviously, like and subscribe like I mentioned. Obviously, I didn't go over every single fighter. You know, there were a few stock rises, like, for example, Rong Zhu. He had a great performance. Obviously, Quinlan Sakid. Obviously, Anush Jabaloo. You know, do not redeem. Stock drop there, but whatever. Obviously, comment your thoughts down below if you have anybody else that I missed. And yeah, I will see you in my quick predictions and my best bets later on this week.